They appeared to be a normal teacher and student, but at night, they slept together as husband and wife, unaware that an unknown storm was about to change both of their lives. Stay away from me. I've fallen for someone new. The girl's name is Amanda. 5 years ago, when she started college, she married her professor out of love, but she never imagined that life after marriage wouldn't be as sweet as she had thought. Because in the eyes of her chauvinistic husband, a woman had no right to work. But his meager salary wasn't enough to cover the household expenses. So much so that Amanda couldn't even afford her favorite cake. Until that day, the bank they had taken a loan from suddenly sent an email. Sasha, what on earth happened? The bank sent another payment reminder. Amanda was stunned. After all, if they couldn't repay on time, the bank would definitely auction off their only house. But her husband's current salary was still far from enough to cover the payments, and Amanda suddenly felt lost about the future. But what she never expected was that it was her husband who created this mess. Yet he blamed her for being a burden, which immediately made Amanda feel suffocated. But the husband didn't care at all. Instead, ignoring Amanda's despair, he forced himself on her, unaware that everything was about to change drastically soon. That day, while waiting for the bus, Amanda was splashed by a passing luxury car, and the man who got out didn't seem to care. Instead, he offered 2,000 yuan to buy the coat Amanda was wearing. This completely shattered the last shred of Amanda's dignity. You're delusional. I came to apologize. An apology is worthless. Give me back my purse now. So the man had no choice but to raise the price to 2,500, but Amanda still lashed out at him, claiming her coat was worth 5,000. And though the man was a bit helpless, he still asked Amanda to go to the car to get the money. But Amanda, upon hearing that, cursed him stupid pig and left without looking back, unaware that fate's wheel had quietly started turning. Because while Amanda was worrying about the loan, her husband suddenly brought surprising news. He told Amanda, over the weekend, the lending bank would be hosting an important business meeting. So he hoped that Amanda, with her attractive appearance, could attend in his place to act as the interpreter for the meeting and take the chance to connect with the bank's executives to request an extension for their mortgage. As he spoke, he handed Amanda a stranger's number. Though Amanda was full of resentment, she still, under her husband's request, came to the loan bank. But the moment she saw the bank's investor, she was completely stunned because the person was the same car owner she had insulted earlier. This immediately made Amanda feel uneasy, and the man also showed displeasure at Amanda's arrival, but only because of his subordinates' repeated assurances did he reluctantly allow Amanda to stay, and brought Amanda to a high-end luxury club to play roulette with clients who had traveled from afar. But to Amanda's surprise, just as she was feeling curious about everything, the man casually tipped her with 2 chips worth 100 each. This instantly made Amanda feel belittled. So, in order not to accept his charity, Amanda, though warned not to, placed the chips on the least likely number 0. It was a poor decision. Anyway, it's not my money. Hands off the table. However, fate always writes with irony. As the roulette wheels spun, Amanda miraculously won a total of 7,000 in chips, enough to pay off the mortgage shortfall in one go. And the man named Sergey, he even urged her to cash in all the chips and take the money, but Amanda still refused to accept his charity. And under his astonished gaze, she placed all the chips again on the least likely number. But this time, fate had no intention of favoring her again. Red 27. What goes around comes around. I warned you, but she didn't care at all. Instead, she went with Sergey to escape the chaos, and they arrived at the bowling alley, unknowingly drawing closer to one another, completely unaware that a life-changing opportunity was slowly emerging in front of her. Because with the passing years, Sergey, no longer young, had lost the passion he once had. His relationship with his wife was nothing but an empty shell. So Amanda's presence felt like an ice-cold cola on a hot summer day, refreshing and invigorating, making it impossible for him not to daydream. So after it all ended, as if guided by fate, he invited Amanda to dinner. And thinking about her goal of extending the mortgage, Amanda promptly accepted Sergey's invitation until they arrived at the most luxurious restaurant in the city. Even though there was a huge gap in their status and identity, their souls seemed to be perfectly in sync, unknowingly drawn to each other. Until Sergey told Amanda, I've always believed in Santa Claus, so for years, I worked hard just to build a fairy tale world. And I always hoped my life would be like a fairy tale. Sometimes I even fall into my own fantasies. Then let's dream together. Amanda immediately sensed the ambiguity in their conversation, whether it was in the tone of their chat or the spark ignited when their eyes met. All of it made Anna feel uneasy. So Anna immediately took out her loan documents from her bag. But Sergey told Anna, I don't want you to be with me, just to please me. Then he revealed his true intention. Let's go. Let's talk in my room. Anna froze instantly on the spot. All her beautiful fantasies shattered at that moment. So she angrily scolded Sergey for ruining the wonderful night, then stood up and left without looking back. Anna, I didn't mean to offend you. I don't know how to please a girl. But his feelings for Anna were extremely sincere, so he hoped this night wouldn't end so quickly. As he spoke, he told Anna if she changed her mind, she could call him anytime. But Anna no longer had the desire to talk to him. Yet she didn't know their fate would soon take a dramatic turn. Because right after Anna returned home, she casually told her husband what had happened today. But who knew after hearing it, her husband ignored her feelings and scolded Anna, saying she missed the chance to earn mortgage money because she was addicted to gambling. I gave up my chance to get a PhD for you. working 12 exhausting hours every day. Only earned 200, yet you let 7,000 slip away from your hands. So Anna questioned her husband. If the other person asked me to sleep with him, do I have to agree gladly? But after hearing that, her husband didn't care at all. Instead, he mocked her, saying no one would like an ordinary woman like Anna. And only then did Anna realize, maybe in her husband's eyes, she truly was good for nothing. But what she didn't expect was that across the city, Sergei had nothing on his mind but her image. After all, compared to a marriage with no more passion, Anna's appearance was like a warm drizzle in a dark world, warming the dryness in Sergei's heart. But how to win Anna's heart had now become an unsolvable puzzle, until finally, the situation turned. That day, when Anna was hanging out at a cafe with her best friend, she suddenly saw her husband in the freezing cold, working part-time as a tour guide. At that moment, Anna's heart was deeply touched. Because even though their marriage was full of quarrels and misfortune, she still deeply loved her husband. So, to ease her husband's burden, she had no choice but to muster the courage and call Sergei. I'm really glad to get your call. It's not a good time right now. I'll call you later. Is something wrong? It's nothing? Why would you ask that? I can tell. At least it's not a bad thing. Then Sergei quietly ran to the restroom, promising he'd send a car to pick Anna up tomorrow. And that finally brought their relationship a step closer. Confident Sergei even fixed his hairstyle a little, as if time couldn't hide the charm of her wealth. But time moved on to the next day. After secretly glancing at her husband, Anna left the house under the excuse of shopping with her best friend. After a slight hesitation, she boarded the bus heading to the hotel, and Sergei had already been waiting there for a long time. Hazen, good afternoon. After an awkward greeting from Anna, she was ready to get straight to the point. But at that moment, Sergei made a surprising request. Can I ask you to smile? Seeing this, Anna had no choice but to force a smile, and it was precisely this smile that satisfied Sergei. He immediately called the bank manager. Not only did he extend the repayment deadline for Anna and her husband, but he also waived all their interest. The loan matter was taken care of, a small matter. Anna was slightly stunned. For the first time, she felt the beauty brought by money and power, but Sergei didn't want to exploit her weakness. He took Anna to the restaurant and told her, if you don't like me, then I can leave right now, and everything we agreed on before still holds. But at this crucial moment, Anna made a decision she thought she would never make in her entire life. She actually agreed to the deal with Sergei, and spent an unforgettable afternoon with him until it ended. She was still immersed in the passion they just shared. She told Sergei this was the happiest day of her life. She even started singing while pouring wine, because it was a fine red wine she had never tasted before, and a wonderful life she had never experienced. But just as she was gradually losing herself, she suddenly remembered her husband who had been holding on in the cold wind. At that moment, Anna suddenly came to her senses. A strong sense of guilt brought tears to her eyes, and finally, under Sergei's puzzled gaze, she fled the hotel. But her husband had no idea about any of this. Instead, after Anna came home, he proudly said a miracle had happened. What miracle had happened? It turned out the bank had miscalculated their loan, but he had no idea what his wife had actually gone through, and Anna no longer felt like speaking to her husband. Then, after rejecting her husband's advances, she lay on the bed exhausted. But even so, fate never stopped toying with her. Just a few days later, Sergei, who still couldn't forget Anna, actually called again. Let's meet. Same room, 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. But this time, Anna had no intention of giving in. After all, since last time, she had been overwhelmed with guilt toward her husband. So she directly and firmly rejected him, and hoped the other party wouldn't call again. But love knows no reason, only deep devotion. 500 glances in a past life, in exchange for one meeting in this one. So even though reason told Anna to return to her family, the scenes with Sergei burned her heart like the flames of hell. So even after all her inner struggles, missing the bus to the hotel couldn't stop her from meeting Sergei. So she ran desperately toward the hotel. Meanwhile, Sergei had waited long without seeing Anna, but that deep longing in his heart stopped him from turning away. And finally, in one glance back, he saw the woman he couldn't forget. At that moment, they seemed to forget their arrangement, entwining in what they believed was love, and agreed to meet here every Tuesday at 4:30 in the afternoon. But just 2 weeks later, unexpectedly, Sergei broke the promise. Good afternoon, hello. Has the guest in room 307 arrived? Sorry, the guest checked out this morning. Anna's heart immediately sank, because what she didn't know was, on Sergei's way to meet her, his son suddenly fell gravely ill and fainted. So, seeing his wife's exhausted expression, Sergei felt overwhelmed with guilt and finally decided to return to his family and cut all ties with Anna. Even knowing it was a game, she still played along. At this moment, Anna was completely immersed in her forbidden relationship with Sergei. Even when facing the birthday party her husband had prepared with care, she seemed absent, her eyes fixed on her phone with hope, wishing for a message from Sergei. But the higher the hope, the deeper the disappointment. In the end, Sergei's call never came. Who called? Okoyeva and some other girls. What day is it today? Today is your birthday. I of course know that. I'm asking what day of the week it is. Thursday. Why? Anna instantly fell silent, but lovesickness had already taken over with no cure. So every day she waited under Sergei's office, just to catch a glimpse of him from afar, then waited by his door, watching him go home, wearing herself out in endless longing, numbly passing those days tinged with yearning. Even made her husband think she was ill. Finally, unable to bear it anymore, Anna confessed the truth. "Leave me alone. I've fallen in love with someone else." In an instant, the world went silent. Her husband stared at Anna in disbelief, as if seeing her for the first time, but it was already too late. Once hurt is caused, it's hard to mend, so she burst out in anger, pretending to look so innocent. "Who is he?" "Sasha, I truly feel sorry for you." However, they say when parting, both can find peace even without me. But whenever it comes to love, the heart grows fearful. So when cracks formed in the marriage, all that was left was a complete mess. So Anna, who was kicked out of her home, called Sergei. "Sorry, I shouldn't have called you. But I don't know who else I can turn to." And under his wife's gaze, although Sergei felt helpless, he still rushed over, wiping the tears from Anna's eyes. "I'll buy you an apartment, that's no problem. You can live there, live together." Sergei didn't answer, but in Anna's heart, she already had the answer. And soon, she moved into the luxurious home he bought for her, enjoying a life of luxury she had never known before. From a gentle, virtuous wife, she turned into a caged golden canary. But even so, as time passed, Anna realized that Sergei came to the apartment less and less. Even when he did, it was always rushed. But he never realized that everything in this world has an expiration, even beauty. So when she couldn't find Sergei, she called his home. Sergei's face immediately filled with disgust, but he didn't know that a sudden incident was about to throw everything into complete chaos that day. After Sergei and Anna parted, Anna's ex-husband suddenly came to find her. Looking at everything Anna now had, he begged her to come back to him. But Anna firmly told him, "Maybe Sergei really is bad, maybe even worse than you, but I love him." That pierced her ex-husband's heart. "You never loved me." Anna fell silent for a moment. After all, when she was with her ex-husband, she was only 20. At that time, he was ambitious and spirited, nothing like the laziness after marriage, which left their marriage in shambles. But her ex-husband had no idea. And instead, he confessed he had been with Anna's best friend, but said that in his heart, there was only Anna. But how could Anna accept such an absurd scene? What she didn't expect was that her hurt ex-husband suddenly grabbed her. Then, ignoring Anna's resistance, forced himself on her. By the time Sergei got the news, it was already too late. Anna told Sergei she could no longer stand this kind of life and didn't want to be a hidden mistress any longer. Then asked Sergei to buy a travel agency and give it to her. Sergei was slightly stunned, doubting whether Anna had the ability to run a travel agency. As for Anna's ex-husband, Sergei promised he would send someone to teach him a lesson, but Anna didn't care at all. Instead, she threw out a shocking piece of news. "I'm pregnant. We're having our own baby. You now have one more child. Aren't you happy?" Sergei was instantly shocked, but Anna knew Sergei didn't want to take on this responsibility. So she told Sergei that no matter what, she would give birth to this child and let Sergei see the determination in Anna's eyes. So he promised Anna he would give the child an extremely privileged material life, but he could not give Anna a proper status. Instantly, the secret hope in Anna's heart turned to dust. At that moment, her dream shattered, but another ambitious soul rose from the decaying body into new life. So under her pressure, Sergei had no choice but to go back and confess the truth to his wife, and promised he would not leave the family. But he never imagined the wife he had always neglected was the one he should never have underestimated. After learning about Sergei's situation, she told the man she had given everything for. "I don't know what's going on over there, but things here can be repaired. I want to stay here and be with my son." However, the wife said no one would stop him from seeing his son, but this family no longer needed his company. Then, after promising she would take good care of the child, she firmly proposed a divorce to Sergei, hoping Sergei would take care of Anna and the unborn baby. After speaking, she said her final goodbye to Sergei, which left Sergei with a deep feeling of loss, as if the most important thing in his life was slowly drifting away from him, something unrelated to money and power, but about love and a hope he could never get again. So, after sending someone to give Anna's ex-husband a good beating, Sergei and Anna moved into a brand new mansion, while the ex-husband and Anna's best friend continued their days of financial struggle as if nothing had changed. Yet everything felt very different. Until the ex-husband heard about Anna's growing belly, and the nameless anger in his heart completely exploded. So he took a sharp knife and followed Sergei all the way home. Then in the next second, "Sasha, assistant, don't shoot." Thankfully, Anna reacted in time and saved both Sergei and the ex-husband's lives. Seeing how agitated her ex-husband was, she walked up fearlessly. "What do you want? What are you doing? He took everything from me." "Everything. Calm down. Please, calm down." After all, what else can happen if you lose control? So under Anna's comforting, the ex-husband finally left in silence. And from that day on, Anna, who saw reality clearly, was no longer that naive girl. And as her status and position rose, her relationship with Sergei became more and more practical, as if they were merely business partners. Until one day a year later, Anna had already become a female entrepreneur. She unexpectedly saw her ex-husband again, and by then, he was no longer the down-and-out man he used to be. Instead, with the help of a thesis, he had successfully earned a PhD, but the way he looked at Anna was still full of affection. Do you know who she's talking to? I know. You don't mind? However, Sergei, who no longer had feelings for Anna, didn't care. After all, as time went by, he had long lost interest in Anna. So after casually greeting the ex-husband, he quickly left the event and went to his ex-wife's house. It was only then that he truly realized that those little things he once overlooked were actually the things he should have cherished most. But he had already lost the right to have them. Yet he wasn't the only one filled with emotion, especially the ex-husband wondering if Anna still loved Sergei. After some hesitation, Anna immediately replied dud. So the ex-husband told Anna that if she was willing to come back, he would give up everything, including Anna's best friend. But seeing how obsessed he was, Anna only gave a slight smile. Let's go. Do you have a car? Yes. Then let's drive separately. It wouldn't be good if people saw us together. Then Anna brought her ex-husband to a hotel, and afterward, she told him, love is the most unreasonable thing, but my body is mine to control, so don't make love out to be something so grand. Then she walked away without looking back, but at the moment she stepped out, she showed a glimpse of her vulnerability. In the end, she had everything, but had become the version of herself she hated the most.